Hello everyone, this is a new series I'm going to be doing on YouTube called Things You Need to Know About Pugs. Now from having a pug, there's lots of things that I didn't know, and lots of things I thought I knew, but I was wrong about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try and, over the series, I'll try and educate you on things that I found out or that people have told me to watch out for. So in today's video, we're just going to do a quick myth busting about pugs, because there's lots of things people say about pugs that are wrong. Just completely wrong, outright wrong. And I didn't know, I assumed the same things as they assumed. And then I got one, and I was very, very surprised by what I found, so I'll let you know. So one of the first things was people said that pugs don't shed the coats. That is the most incorrect thing I have ever heard, because I have not known a single dog to shed as much as Pablo does. Now, fawn dogs are the worst, well, fawn pugs are the worst, should I say. The black pugs aren't as bad because they actually only have one coat. But the fawn pugs have two coats, so they have like an undercoat and an outer coat. Now, these are really quite thick coats, and they shed every day, of every week, of every month, of every year, from when they're born till forever. They do not stop shedding. It is really quite bad. It is constant. It is relentless. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video, which I'll put a link down below when I've done that, all about the shedding, because it's hard to keep on top of, and it is hard to maintain like a nice coat for him. So go for that. So a thing people always say as well about pugs is that they have lots of medical issues. Now, this is one of them things that's it's kind of true, but it's not, because they're more susceptible to have health issues, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have more, if you get me. Because obviously if you look after it right and you don't let it go venturing into bushes and stuff, obviously with the squash snout, they're more susceptible to putting the face in things, to get stuff in their eyes, in the nose, which is why they're more of a health risk. But it's not to say that they necessarily get it more often. So the main one, obviously, people talk about is the breathing problems. Now, you don't ever get any issues. They just struggle to breathe a bit in different weather conditions, and when they lie on the back, they snore a bit more. But it's not something that's causing them harm or issue. It's just, it's just like having a cough. You're not going to die. It's not going to do anything. It's just inconvenient for them, really. But I think that's more of like a scare thing of not letting people get pugs. But in all honesty, in terms of medical issues, there's nothing wrong with pugs at all. It's just one of them things. You can be unfortunate and have an unhealthy dog, or you can have a really healthy one, just like any other dog. It's not, Which brings us on to our next one, really. And this is one that I think a generation older than myself kind of says quite a lot, because my granddad said it to me. And it's that pugs' eyes can pop out. Now, pugs' eyes can't just pop out. They're not going to randomly pop out. Now, what it is because their eyes are quite bulged out, so they are more prone to not necessarily popping out, but obviously with pressure, they could. But so could any dogs. If you physically squeeze it hard enough, anybody's would, mine would. But because of the bulged eyes and the squashed nose, you tend to find that they put the heads right into things, which means it touches their eyes. And obviously, if their eyes get infected or anything, they'll bulge out even more, which means more likely to something to happen to them. So if you look after your pug and don't let it go rummaging in bushes with its eyes, it'll be fine. They won't just pop out. But obviously, wearing a harness rather than a collar is a lot better, because if it does, for some reason, sprint off and you yank it, they are more likely to do it than any other dog. But they're not just going to, you're not just going to be walking one day and it's just going to pull on the lead a little bit and its eyes just fall out. That's just not going to happen. Eyes don't just fall out. It would take some pressure to physically do that. So don't be worried about that. Definitely don't be worried about that. Now, this is a very strange one, and I've seen it a couple of places when I was doing a bit of Googling on what kind of myths around pugs. And a lot of people said that pugs can eat chocolate. Do not feed your pug chocolate. Do not. Any dog, no dogs, ever. In retrospect, you shouldn't give any dog any human food, really, but definitely not chocolate. I don't know what this myth's all about or where it came from. Yeah, don't ever feed a pug chocolate. Don't ever feed any dog chocolate. It's just no. Big no. Big no. So the last one, and probably the one that most people are probably thinking in their head, or anything, whenever anyone mentions a pug, pugs are lazy and fat. Pugs are a very, very greedy dog. The nature of them is very, very greedy. Anything that's in front of them, they'll try and eat. It's just how they are. It's how they've been evolved and bred. Some dogs are more greedy than others. That's obviously just the nature of them. Like stuff like Labradors aren't as greedy for food, whereas some dogs are, like a pug. But pugs are not lazy and they're not fat if you look after them. If you leave a pug just to sleep all the time because you think it's lazy and you make it lazy, it will be lazy. But what we were told by our breeder is the pug is only as lazy as its owner. So if you walk it twice a day and give it a good diet and give it lots of exercise, it'll be a hyperactive, normal dog that'll run around and cause you mayhem. And that's exactly like our dog Pablo. He is mental. He is a psycho. He's absolutely mental. He's an absolute handful to deal with all the time. He never sits down and rests. And in terms of being fat, you've got to be very strict for the diet, because obviously they are greedy. So if you leave any kind of food lying about, you drop food on the floor, they've got it in the mouth and they're gone, because they'll have it. So you've got to watch the diet, measure it out. I'm going to do a video on food and dieting separately, so I'll put that in the description once I've made that video, and it'll be in the whole playlist, so you can look right through and see all of them. But yeah, I just thought for today's video, we'll just do like a quick myth busting before we go into proper informational videos and other things like that. Purely because these are very big misconceptions about pugs, and that a lot of people, when we've been walking him and going down the street with him, people are like, oh, he's very hyper. Oh, I thought pugs were lazy. Oh, he's quite slim. A lot of people kind of need, the same with other breeds of dogs, people are like, oh, these ones are aggressive, or these ones are really yappy. It's kind of a lot of it's how you bring it up, and a lot of it's how you train it and how it's brought from a young age and kind of what environment it's in. At the end of the day, every dog will be different though, so me saying that pugs aren't lazy does not mean you won't get a lazy pug. It's just all depending on genetics as well. There is a bit of that to play in it, but as a general characteristic, pugs aren't lazy. You can make a pug lazy, but they're not actually lazy. But as I say, this was the first video of this playlist that I'm trying to do, just like an informational series and kind of a bit of background and information into kind of pugs and the lifestyle that I have and stuff that you don't necessarily hear from breeders and stuff like that. Like, living with them is completely different to what you think it is. You see all these lovely pictures on Instagram of pugs sleeping and you're like, oh, they're dead cute, and then you get one and you realise to get a photo of one is ridiculously difficult because they move around so much. And yeah. But if you like this video, please do leave us a like and drop a comment down below of anything you want to know, and I'll reply to you in the comments and help you out as much as I can. And will be doing a lot more videos of these in this series, so go check that out when they're all up. And if you want to see more, please do subscribe. That'd be great. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and peace out.